Dumelang, Aksheni, Habari, Molweni, Sanibonani, and welcome to day 2 of the first National Indigenous Knowledge Systems Job Summit. My name is Mayashri Chinsami, and I'm co-chairing the program this morning. And I'm also the research manager at the Department of Science and Innovation, National Research Foundation, Center in Indigenous Knowledge Systems, with its hub at the University of KwaZulu-Natal and a consortium of 5 higher education institutions, including the Northwest University, the University of Limpopo, the University of Venda, and the University of South Africa. And these 5 higher education institutions are collectively driving the development of indigenous knowledge systems nationally, regionally, and internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, a few housekeeping rules for the smooth running of the summit. Please, panelists, to have your video and mic on mute. And you can unmute your mic and video when invited by the session facilitator and proceed with your presentations, which have a maximum time of 10 minutes. All participants, you have open to you 2 options, a chat and a Q&A function that we encourage you to use in order to share thoughts and ideas with us during the course of proceedings. Also note that in the chat function, there is a link to the Facebook and YouTube channels in order to follow the proceedings live. Ladies and gentlemen, I then take us to our second aspect, which is the anthems that will be played. And this is again a way of invoking a shared spirit amongst us, coming from diverse cultures and linguistic groups from within and outside the country, representing our panelists and participants. And the organizers would like to commence the proceedings with these series of anthems.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. All sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa a tree of life. Let us all unite and sing together to our die blauw van onze hemel, uit die diepte van ons ziel. Oor ons eeuwige gebergtes, wat die kraalse antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land. Bukoni bupirima reka ele murena kawena reka ema ratswarana murena urejoje lesedin rejoroje. Waar die wilgers welig spruit, doringboom sy skadu sprei, soos ons groei in kundigheid, mag U ons lei. Sien ons hoe hier lei met die hand, laat U sien rus oor ons land. Three strong streams united flow, Africa stands proud and tall. As we learn, we trust, we know God is in control. Bless us, O Lord, guide us with grace. May Northwest be blessed always. Bless us, O Lord, sien ons lief. Oris Jehovah Semolena, sien ons, bless us, O Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for you observing the silence and the anthems. I now have the pleasure of inviting my co-chair. He's an alumnus to Northwest University and a lecturer. Kaka Mokakale has a master in Indigenous Knowledge Systems and is a member of the Setswana National Language Body. He's also a lecturer in Setswana in the subject group of Setswana and African Languages for Education, the Northwest University's Faculty of Education. So welcome, my dear colleague, and he will carry you through the proceedings for the rest of the day.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. Thank you, Doc Chensami, for that wonderful introduction. Unfortunately, I can't see myself here. When I try to open the video, it says you cannot start the video because the host has stopped it. I don't know, perhaps the host can open the video for me. But anyway, it's not a problem. Thank you so much, Dr. Chansami, for that wonderful introduction. We are now going straight to the next item, and the item is item number 3, where we are going to request Prof. Dan to Prof. Dan is the Vice Chancellor and the principal for Northwest University. And then Prof. Dan is going to do a welcome for us. And then Mohuena Prof. Dan, Kiare Emakakala Tatarapa Lele La Hakwadi. Khwadi e telele tlhatharapa ja malalela ruri monna yo molele hi ho. Aibo. Bula khoro ka o le khosa ya University ya Bokone Bophirima. Bula khoro baeng ba tsene ba eme ha khorong. O bare o re ba goroge ka lerago la moyeng le bewa fatshe ke monkgae. Bula khoro o bare o re moyeng goroga dijo di bonale. Me o re bareng o bare o re ana moyeng ona ka di mare. Over to you, Prof. Over to you, Prof. Dan.
Thank you very much, program directors. No, thanks a lot. You have already welcomed everyone in that idiomatic expression. I was just thinking as to if you can ask me to write idioms about me. You know, I can think of a few. Some are not that good, but I really welcome the visitors, our guests in this IKS conference, and this is really good to have you colleagues from across the board. Firstly, I must welcome our DDG, Dr. Maufe. You're welcome, say, to this meeting, and I know you managed to make it through a very tough schedule. You know, this Corona period, everyone is extremely busy. But however, these online meetings do help us. They save us a lot of driving distance, driving time. But nonetheless, the schedule still remains extremely busy. And I want to thank and welcome our various representatives of the departments. And I also want to welcome our traditional leaders here present today. And you, ladies and gentlemen, our students and the attendees for this conference, the dignitaries, you are welcome. IKS started a long time ago. You know, it was back in 1996 to 1998 when the Portfolio Committee of Council of Arts and Technology initiated this move and this department. And ever since then, a number of universities were part of this. University of Fort Hare, University of Northwest, ourselves, Limpopo, University of Venda, South Africa, Zululand as well. So we did participate in this very first initiative and call by the Portfolio Committee to ensure that IKS is alive in the country. And I must really say and thank these different partners for working together to really ensure that we are where we are with IKS. IKS is now a discipline on its own, and indeed, it is really making a remarkable impact in the country. We have also gone all the way to establish in a program in IKS, BIKS, Bachelor of IKS, which we are offering. We have offered a PhD, and we have offered a number of Bachelor of IKS graduates. You can imagine what impact have we made to those young ones through this degree. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, this is really remarkable to think of just a program that started only now in 1996, and therefore already where we are at this stage. As the Northwest University, we really have made an impact throughout all its developments in terms of policy development and different stages of policy development, and we participated together with other universities to ensure that there is a national policy on. I want to say, Dr. Mofe, you are welcome to this meeting, and I want to thank all dignitaries for their presence today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Wadi, with those inspiring and motivating words of welcoming. I think everyone now is settled now that we have been welcomed. The next item here is item number 4, where we are going to ask Professor Nechadama. Professor Nechadama is the Director for Community Engagement at the University of Venda, and Prof. Nechadama is going to do introduction of guests or delegates for us. Prof. Nechadama, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson. I wish to introduce the following eminent persons. To start with, Program Directors, Dr. Chimsami and yourself, sir. Also, our Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Northwest University, who has just welcomed us, Professor Kwadi, Professor Drummond, Deputy Dean, Teaching and Learning, Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Science, Northwest University, May Yenana from London, Yenana Solutions, May Chisumba from Morumpa Development Services, Baba N. Kuzwayo, an IKS activist, Ras G. Prince from CDSA, Rem Muloto from SIDA, Res Sofeleng from National Lottery Board, Northwest, Meshumi Pango from the Department of Science and Innovation, Re G. Eshin from Northwest University, Mercy Bukhodi from Department of Sports and Recreation Archives, Dr. Lubisi, Chief Director, Department of Sports, Arts, Recreation, Mpumalanga, Selenani Mdluli from the University of Limpopo, Dr. Koroyedira from Ikitse Cultural Solutions, Dr. Lunga from HSRC, Dr. Khati from National Research Foundation, Professor Materechera from Northwest University, Dr. Kumalo from Department of Education in Mpumalanga, and all the eminent guests that I may not have in the list, you are introduced. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor Nechadama. I think now we know each other. The next item here on my program is introduction. No, not introduction. It's a poet now. I'm a poet with the name of Tawia Poko Dire. I wrote it down. Rora Taurora.
Kya mugala kakapa kya mugala senata kya mugala mogaka kya mugala khagaripa kya mugala le tona tautona kya mugala mankapata kya malemela khotlanga ka blending zimande bo mathanka mugala nka megolo kwane senjalo kya ngala tona ka tsena o kokoraga jaaka mokoko wa lepiki ka letlatlana ka re o ikgantsha jaaka kgosikgolo mmusi wa motse ka re o tlale kgalalelo se ka mosese wa ga mmakgathimaranthana le diama sa mphatlalatsane phatsimagare ya Aforika ka bophara tlhaletona ka Bladies Mande lefapha la gago ke leo le tseo le ise mankaleng godimo matlhaleng diyunibesithing baithuti ba bone thuto senotlolo sa katlego se dira ditšhabakgagari pa botshelo jwa matlhale tlhaletona ke a go amogela bua le batho ba gago bua le setšhaba sa gago ke seo ke
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Dawiya Poko Dire. And he was actually referring to Dr. Timande. But Dr. Moufe, when he's referring to Dr. Timande, he's actually referring to you there, because now you are coming on behalf of Dr. Timande. The next item here on my program is item number 6, where I'm going to request Professor Drummond. Professor Drummond is Deputy Dean, Teaching and Learning, Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, Northwest University. And Prof. Drummond is going to do introduction of our DDG for Technology Innovation, Department of Science and Innovation, Dr. Boneni Moufe. The stage is yours, Professor Drummond.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Moufe. Dr. Boneni Moufe is the Deputy Director General for Technology Innovation at the Department of Science and Innovation in South Africa. He was previously the DDG for International Cooperation and Resources in the department, during which time he oversaw, amongst other partnerships, South Africa's growing participation in EU research funding programs, led the mobilization of official development assistance funds to support the South African science system, the establishment of partnerships with multinational companies, and mobilizing international support for South Africa's bid to host the Square Kilometre Array, the SKA, radio telescope in Africa. Dr. Moufe has experience in management of funding instruments to support innovation, which started when he was at the National Research Foundation, that's the NRF, as coordinator and then manager for technology and human resource for industry program, THRIP, a program designed to foster public-private partnerships in technology and human capacity development. He is responsible for various funds supporting innovation and technology commercialization. This includes the recently established Innovation Fund, which aims at bridging the funding gap between research, technology development, and translation of research outputs into products and services addressing socio-economic challenges. Dr. Moufe's current portfolio includes space science and technology, bioinnovation, which includes agriculture, health, industrial biotechnology and environment, and IKS innovation, hydrogen and energy, converging technology platforms, and oversight of the National Intellectual Property Management Office. He is also the principal of the South African Group on Earth Observations, GEO, and a member of its executive committee. Dr. Moufe, you are most welcome, and we look forward to hearing your keynote address. I thank you. Kia leboga ra.
Good morning, everybody. Program Director, can I go ahead?
Yes, we can go ahead, Doc. You are most welcome.
Thank you very much. I really want to extend a word of appreciation to being part of this, even though it's coming on behalf of the minister who I hope we understand he's quite caught up in a number of issues. He was looking forward to being with us today. I really want to also thank the opportunity from the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Dan Hwadi, who I think over the years that I have had an opportunity to engage with has been extremely supportive of the role that we're playing, whether it is in the Indigenous Knowledge System and also in a whole range of other programs that are hosted at the University of the Northwest. I want to thank the executive management of the University of the Northwest, the dignitaries, representatives from various government departments, traditional leaders, Sanda Burana, representative of the private sector and industry. I also appreciate and understand that there are representatives from universities from outside of these borders, in particular Namibia, distinguished guests, various IKS ambassadors, and I really want to thank specifically these ones because even at the time when it wasn't fashionable to be involved in digital systems, these are people that have stood up and fought for the rights of the Indigenous knowledge system activities and the sector. I also want to thank the staff, graduate students, Indigenous knowledge holders and practitioners, my colleagues from the Department of Science and Innovation who have been driving this portfolio with a lot of passion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be representing the minister today. And I think at some point when I speak, you probably would be finding it very difficult to differentiate between what I'm saying and what the minister is saying, because basically I'm delivering this on his behalf. I think this is really quite an exciting development, and I want to thank the vision of those who have organized this particular event. This being the first summit on IKS job summit, which is hosted by a consortium of institutions of higher learning. I want to really thank also the cooperation that is lively between the universities of Northwest, University of Limpopo, University of Venda, and University of KwaZulu-Natal. It's always the government and my own institutes of higher learning should not produce graduates that end up jobless. So I think what is really crucial is education should not really be about certification. It really should be about us producing graduates that are going to not only make an impact in the communities, but also who are going to change some of the challenging historical dispositions that we're dealing with as a country, whether it is around transformation, issues of the changing of the economic landscape. We really think that the graduates that we produce should really be playing big in that space, as opposed to just saying, well, I've got a degree as well, or I am educated. So it is therefore important that this forum provides that platform where we can brainstorm many strategies and plans to address this problem. How do we make sure that we actually move to a space where our graduates are not only going to be looking for employment, but they are also going to be employment creators? I do think that the meaning of Indigenous knowledge system, as we all know, is well known by all in attendance here, but there are many aspects that have been dealt with in the first day, which I think provide us with a whole range of other angles of what we need to appreciate around the Indigenous knowledge systems. So we know that this is also about the uniqueness to a given culture or society, and the kind of knowledge that is generated or that emanates from those kind of societies. We need to also appreciate that it is not just knowledge that must just be there, but it must also be one that we can actually utilize to try and build not only our communities for now, but also looking into the future. So this job summit has, as I understand, brought together in a one-stop fashion most, if not all, relevant stakeholders in the themes of IKS as drivers in the jobs market. These themes range from entrepreneurship to the public and to the private sector, the arts, the traditional and the cultural heritage, the fourth industrial revolution, and believe me, because sometimes we do think that when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, it is at the exclusion of Indigenous knowledge systems, but the opposite is actually the case. teaching and learning, research and innovation, as well as economic development, and the role of indigenous systems in agriculture and health. And we all know that if we don't have agriculture and health, then we actually don't exist. So ladies and gentlemen, I think IKS has taught us that the world's cultural diversity can be localized. That is generated by a particular group of people in a geographical area, transmitted orally through imitation and demonstration, shared or distributed within the population group through gender, age, and memories of individuals, as well as the interactions and practices that people engage. The IKS and IK are therefore viewed as separate and different from international knowledge systems, which include knowledge generated by universities, research institutions, and private firms. Hence, the international knowledge is created from modern scientific systems of research and development, which are all part of the global scientific and technical enterprise of human civilization. This knowledge is acquired through formal education, book learning, and enhanced by advanced study, internships, trainings, and mentoring that essentially ensures that the extent, avenues, and process for scientific knowledge creation, affirmation, and dissemination are manipulated and continued. Juxtaposed, IK is mostly undocumented, transmitted primarily through oral traditions, and the custodians are the elders who do not necessarily have informal education. And I will really elaborate on this, because what is important is to be mindful that whatever we see as differences between indigenous knowledge systems and other systems has got nothing to do with one being inferior and one being superior. If you want to attest to what I'm saying, you probably realize that when it comes to aspects of health and even farming, you'll find that a lot of the indigenous knowledge system has actually been misappropriated or stolen without the permission by those who hold this knowledge in order to enrich the other side. So therefore, we need, in as much as we engage with our indigenous knowledge system, to be proud that we actually are generators of knowledge that is at par as the rest of the knowledge that is generated elsewhere. So we are also pleased in this regard that the University of Northwest is a pioneer of IKS in South Africa due to the fact that it's the first institution of high learning to have an accredited program, namely a Bachelor of Indigenous Knowledge Systems, BICS in other words, which was registered in 2013 with the South African Qualification Authority and approved by the Council of Higher Education. So subsequently, other higher education institutions also registered BICS degrees and are in the process of doing so. And the NRF GSI IKS Center is currently hosted by the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So we are quite pleased that with that perhaps late start, a lot of the backbone is now being put together to ensure that we indeed do what we have wanted to do as a Department of Science and Innovation, which is to mainstream the indigenous knowledge system. The integration of African indigenous knowledge system into higher education provides many opportunities for students to learn through culture in many forms, including folk stories, songs, folk drama, legends, proverbs, myths, and many more. It also allows the opportunity to learn across the generation, thus transferring culture from one generation to the next. Furthermore, it provides the space for decolonization of education, which is very crucial, especially in these days where a lot around where we come from and where we're going seem to be lost. It's important that we begin to appreciate that only when we decolonize education are we going to, as a nation and as a continent, become successful, because you need to be grounded on something. So this will also help ensure that the past injustices are addressed, including more specifically the promotion of African languages in teaching and learning. The DSI also has a number of programs and strategies that are aimed at promotion of development of indigenous knowledge in South Africa. And in order to achieve this, we collaborate with universities, science councils, government departments that are focused on promotion of IKS, and that we have facilitated also the regulatory framework for the protection, promotion, and management of indigenous knowledge. And this has led to the IKS Act, which was signed by Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa in August 2019. So ladies and gentlemen, since the dawn of the new democratic dispensation, South Africa has faced the socio-economic problem of high and persistent unemployment, especially amongst the youth, which is a big, big challenge. And the graduates from various institutions of higher learning. Since the beginning of the 2000s, a number of studies have focused particularly on youth graduate unemployment, but there has been lack of research in the area of IKS unemployed graduates, which has left a huge gap in the jobs market for IKS graduates. This gap continues to be a concern for previous and current IKS students, and if left unattended, can cause more harm to the program and graduates alike. Therefore, it is very significant to bring the entire nation to a national summit like this that will provide strategies and prospects for decent work, productive employment, and entrepreneurial prospects for IKS graduates across the entire country. The challenges of IKS unemployed graduates do not only result in frustration, but also lead to emotional, spiritual, and economic stress, while also contributing to impoverishment of the African family. This phenomenon must not be viewed in isolation, but against the entire struggle of South Africa and the rest of the African continent. Hence, this summit aims to fill some of the glaring gaps by bringing not only government, department, but also private or business sector institutions of higher learning, as well as students and other relevant stakeholders together to address the plight of unemployed IKS graduates. The summit seeks to explore innovative approaches to the public and private initiatives to create productive employment and sustainable entrepreneurship opportunities for IKS graduates through engaging various stakeholders, and as I've indicated, in the public-private sectors, and also the role that we can take up in various communities that we come from. So we are therefore looking at the outcomes of the summit, and we hope that the database of all unemployed or underemployed IKS graduates needs to be compiled to assist government in partnerships with other stakeholders to provide available and immediate interventions that can actually deal with this challenge. So research studies into the phenomenon of unemployed graduates reveal possible causes such as lack of experience, lack of soft skills, skills mismatches, poor quality of education of the graduates, and discrimination by employers, which is really a crucial aspect that we need to continue to address. The issue of graduate high unemployment is actually not unique to South Africa. We also have the challenge that is being addressed, but I think more to a much lesser extent than we are dealing with in other countries such as India, China, and Europe. So we all know of the scaring numbers or the rate of unemployment in South Africa, the results of which were released quite recently. And even though our latest statistics just show some sense of improvement, we all know that that is really nothing in the bigger scheme of things. So we therefore are quite mindful that we need to continue to work to address this challenge. So according to statistics in South Africa, about 13% of South African youth between ages of 20 and 34 are graduates. Less than 20% of the people over the age of 30 are unemployed in South Africa, compared to more than 45% people younger than 30. The unemployment rate of graduates, according to 2019 QLFS, is about 2.1%. It's a little bit lower than the rest, but we do need to make sure that all people are actually, if they are young and they are productive in the economy, they need to be given an opportunity to contribute to the growth of the economy. We all know that this particular situation has been exacerbated by COVID-19. So decent work really sums up the aspiration of many people in their working lives. It involves opportunities for work that is productive and delivers a fair income, security in the workplace, and social protection of the families, better prospects for personal development, social integration, freedom for the people to express their concerns, to organize and participate in decisions that affect their lives, and quality of opportunity and treatment for all women and men. And that is really crucial. And I'm also pleased that in the IKS space, you do find that the bulk of the people that are participating are not only young, but also we've got a number of women. During the UN General Assembly in September 2015, decent work and the 4 pillars of decent work agenda, employment creation, social protection, rights at work, and social dialogue became integral elements of the new 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Goal number 8 of the 2030 agenda calls for the promotion of sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work, and will be key in the area of engagement for the ILO and its constituents. Furthermore, key aspects of decent work are widely embedded in the target of many of the other 16 goals of the UN Development Vision. South Africa's IKS system policy was approved by Cabinet in 2004, and the National IKS Office was opened in the Department of Science and Technology in 2006, proposing the integration of IKS in the new arenas of education, commerce, agriculture, the sciences, law, arts, social sciences, and health. The policy document implies several challenges to the idea of knowledge at the post-colonial university and the significant implications for research and innovation in South Africa. Since 2001, the government of South Africa, through the NRF, the Department of Science and Technology, and other government departments, has been providing funds to universities to support students who are interested in IKS. The result has been a steady growth in IKS programs within the different regions of South Africa, with large intakes of students to be IKS graduates. To address the already mentioned employment challenges of such graduates, the National Summit will enable all stakeholders to explore the role of IKS graduates and in the working environment in order to create opportunities for South Africa. It will furthermore allow the networking opportunities and the exploration of different aspects of Indigenous knowledge to the current era. The National IKS Summit will also offer opportunities for IKS graduates to be more marketable and efficient to the market of employability in public and private sector. And I want to say that government will want to continue to partner with you. And there are a number of initiatives, especially around the development of entrepreneurs, that we are already running through partnerships with the like of the technology innovation agencies, the partnerships we currently have going with the Innovation Hub, where we are providing skills for entrepreneurs to be able to appreciate and treat themselves as business people that they are. And we hope that by building those skills, we will be able to equip IKS practitioners, young and old, men and women, all races, to be able to practice in this trade as seasoned business people who are going to be sustainable going forward. And for that, we are also partnering with a whole range of other government departments, the Department of Small Business Development, Trade and Industry, working with agencies such as the IDC, where we are beginning to launch programs that are also going to facilitate and support the commercialization of IKA-based innovations, the marketing aspects. And I'm pleased that as we continue to engage, we will also be able to tap into whatever opportunities that my various colleagues from the Department of Science and Innovation and Government are going to be talking about or have already spoken about in the previous day, which was yesterday. So with those few words, I want to say, I look forward to really receiving feedback in terms of the outcomes of this particular summit. And we want to engage further so that we can take some of the recommendations that you have gathered from the participants in this meeting. Thank you very much.